Welcome to our new GrowStrong program, empowering grape growers in South Australia. I'm Lisa Bennier, the Chief Executive Officer of the Wine Grape Council of South Australia. We've recently received some funding through the Future Drought Fund to deliver a program out to 3 pilot regions, Langhorne Creek, the Riverland and Limestone Coast. These pilot regions will have an opportunity for 20 growers in each region to take on this program, which will be with project partners, the University of Adelaide, Australian Wine Research Institute, Rural Business Support and the FABS Mentors. This program is supported by the Wine Grape Council of South Australia through funding from the Australian Government's Future Drought Fund and the Government of South Australia. I'm about to have a chat with our delivery partners now. Hi, welcome girls to the chat. Would you like to tell us who you both are and where you're from and what your jobs are?
My name's Mardi Longbottom. I work for the Australian Wine Research Institute. So my role there, I'm the Manager of Sustainability and Viticulture. So I've got a number of different projects that I do in my role. One of the big ones is looking after the Sustainable Wine Growing Australia program, but I can tell you a bit about that later.
And my name's Robyn Dixon. I also work for the Australian Wine Research Institute. I'm a senior viticulturist. So I work in the viticulture team. We have lots of different projects that we work on. One of them, one of my favourites, is the Help Desk project. So growers from all over Australia can contact us if they have any technical viticulture questions, and we will endeavour to answer the question or start an investigation and find out some more information so that we can answer the question.
The best thing about the help desk, I'm on the help desk as well, but we've got a small team of viticulturists and we've all got different areas of expertise. So it's pretty much guaranteed that when the question comes in, we direct it in the right direction to the right person with the expertise. And then if we can't answer it, we've got other people on campus that we can send those inquiries out to. But like Robyn, it is one of the best parts of the job when we get a photograph of something different from out in the vineyard and we all get together and go, okay, what is this? And start that diagnosis process.
And when that happens, when you say you get a photograph, are you getting a photograph of, like, give us an example. Is it like a bug or a leaf or a different colour? Or give me an example of something that someone might have.
Yeah, it could be really anything. We definitely get lots of insect photographs sent in, and none of us are entomologists, but if we don't immediately know what that insect is, we'll send it down the road to the people, who do know what these insects are. But probably the ones that we all get involved in are where there's a nutritional deficiency or something that we don't always know that that's what it is, but yeah, discoloured leaves or leaves of a funny shape, or they'll tell us my vines are growing. They're not growing as I expect them to. They're stunted, they're yellow. So those kinds of symptoms we're often dealing with.
And so when you say any grower can do this, is this just like a pick up the phone to the help desk, or is it an email? How does the process work?
You can do it either way. You can pick up the phone and call us. You can send an email to us. It's kind of like going to the doctors. It's a fully confidential service. We're all qualified viticulturists. We usually get together on these things, come up with a bit of an idea, a plan of if we need more information, we'll ask back the questions. But yeah, phone or email.
You reminded me of that old series House, the doctor.
It's like that.
Everyone comes to the table and sits around and says, what could this be? Let's eliminate this and eliminate that. Well, that's really good.
It's very much like
forensic,
that.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So is that a fee for service, or how does that work, or is it a free service?
It's supported by levy funding. Yep. So it's levy funding that all growers pay for, and then those funds get matched by the federal government, and then AWRI delivers that as a service.
That's a great answer, Mardi, because that's one of the biggest questions we get asked. Where do the levy funds go?
Well, that's exactly an example. Where one of the things that your levies go to the help desk.
And so any grower can ring, and that's excellent.
That's right. And another good thing about the help desk is that we keep track of all of the queries that come through, and if we see lots of the same queries coming through, that can either trigger some research in that space or a fact sheet that could be developed by our team or by someone externally, a workshop, things like that. So
sometimes really
webinars.
True.
You guys do a lot of webinars.
We do.
So what is that? What makes you make the decision on this topic? Like, what influences what your topic's going to be on your webinars?
That's a good question. So generally, the webinar program is to deliver information from research that has just or is nearing completion. But as mentioned before, if there's a hot topic that people want to hear more about it, then that then feeds into the webinar program as well. So there's a lot of interest on soil health, cover crops. We get sometimes over 450 people registering for webinars that are related to those topics. So there's definitely some pet topics for growers out there.
We've recently been involved with one with you. Do you want to quickly chat on that one, the Resting Vineyards one, just what that webinar was?
Oh, gosh. So the Resting Vineyards webinar came about after a series of workshops that were delivered in the different regions in South Australia. And it was really supporting growers through a really challenging time where the demand for their fruit may be quite low. And so they've got to start making some really difficult decisions about whether they continue to produce that crop, whether they actively rest that vineyard. So we had Paul Petrie from Sardi there talking about the vineyard resting work that he has done. We also had Sandy Hathaway from Wine Australia. She was talking about the grape supply situation and potential long-term impacts. And then I had the fun part of the day where we went through a budgeting tool with each of the growers and really got a collective budget essentially for that region to really help growers make those really difficult financial decisions.
Yeah, they were really good though, and thank you for being part of those. They were excellent.
Pleasure.
The part of those conversations is about what you can do on your vineyard to improve your situation or your market. And one of those things we'll come back to, Mardi, is through Sustainable Wine Growing Australia. Do you want to tell everyone a little bit about that program, what it is, why it's important, and about it's even how you kind of need it to access market?
So Sustainable Wine Growing Australia is a national program open to any grape grower across Australia. Essentially, it's a membership program, so any member joins up, and each year the obligation as a member is that you supply us with a set of standard business data. So basically, how big's your vineyard, how many tonnes of grapes did you pick, and then the resource use that went into doing that. So you tell us how much fuel you used, how much electricity and how much water, and some other things. So that's the basic kind of reporting. And then you go through a self-assessment workbook across a range of your practices that you do in a vineyard. Now, for those who want to take on the bigger commitment to the program, they go through a third-party audit to become certified members of the program. Now, I guess the reason it's become more important more recently, what we talk about is the program's got to really do three main things. One is that it's got to be really useful for members and for growers on the ground. One of the things that growers tell us is the most useful part is the benchmarking tools. So all of that data goes into the program. Your data gets compared to everybody else's across Australia. And then you get these reports back to say, how do you compare to everybody else? And the beauty of that is that allows you to identify where you might be able to make improvements in your business. So that's the first thing.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And then there's the market access issue. So what we're seeing globally is an increase in demand for sustainability credentials. Consumers are becoming increasingly aware of sustainability and sustainability credentials, and they're wanting cues to choose products which I guess have the environment in mind and broader than just environmental, but true triple bottom line sustainability. When we talk about sustainability, often we talk about the triple bottom line. So that's the environment, which is really important, the economics, and also the social aspects of doing your business. So that's what we include in our program. So there are some of our markets are being really clear about what their expectations are around sustainability credentials, and we're communicating with them, making sure that Sustainable Wine Growing Australia is a recognised sustainability program that a lot of producers, it's becoming more necessary to trade in those markets.
Yeah. So for the average grower, it's about them that doesn't have a wine label. It's about them being able to sell their fruit. That's pretty much the bottom line.
Ultimately, the wineries need this so that they can access the markets to sell the wine.
Yes.
So as much as we all love grape growing because it's a part of our lives, ultimately those grapes are going into wine. And if the wine can't sell because it doesn't have the right credentials, then that's a problem for all of us. So yes, it's right through the value chain.
And I guess the harsh reality is if you're trying to sell your grapes and there's two parcels of fruit on the table for sale and one has the Sustainable Wine Growing accreditation and one doesn't, the winery may lean that way if all else is even. because it's going to be easier for them.
We've certainly heard reports of that from last vintage.
Yeah.
And so if it was there in vintage 23, I'm fully expecting it'll be there next vintage and increasingly in the future.
And this is all kind of becoming more and more important, isn't it, in general, this whole ESG environment. I always say sustainable with social and governance ways that we're going, isn't it? So it's really important. So for any growers out there that might be listening to this that haven't gone down this path yet, how do they start this process? How do they find out more?
Probably the easiest place to find out more is go straight to the website. So sustainablewinegrowing.com.au. All the basic information is there. If you've never been a member before, you can just sign up on the website to become a member, and that's a fairly quick process. But if you want to call us again at the help desk, just give us a call and there's someone there who can talk you through that process.
Right. So that's a call to the AWRI. Yes, sorry.
One thing that I really like about the Sustainable Wine Growing Australia website is the frequently asked questions page. It's a wealth of knowledge. So pretty much if anyone has asked a question, it will be there. And there's loads of questions in there.
And coming back to our discussion about webinars before, we did a webinar just last week. So that's one of the regular sections on the webinar program. Every year we do an update on Sustainable Wine Growing Australia. Yeah. So we did one last week. It's available on the AWRI YouTube channel. Yep. And I've just given a whole update about the program. And Liz Pitcher, who works with us, she did an update with a lot of those frequently asked questions. So it's a great place to go.
Do you ever interview growers that have gone through the process? Have you ever thought about doing a webinar with some growers?
What a good idea.
About there you go. I'm here for it.
I've never formally interviewed them, but gee, we do have a lot of conversations with them. Yeah. You know, they are a lot of the people that call us at the help desk just to give us a call and say, I'm having a problem with this year, you know, and we, you know, talk through what they're doing. And so there's a good feedback loop there always about, you know, we're always hearing about the things that we can do better and we try to integrate them as much as possible.
How much do you think, Mardi's the gap here? How many growers do you still think are not in this space yet? I mean, that's a hard question, I know. If you had a rough guess.
Oh, look, it's a tricky question. The numbers that we generally talk about is 6,000 growers across Australia. If we're talking about 6,000 growers across Australia, we've now got around about 1,000 grower members of the program. However, if you talk about it in a different way, that membership represents 40% of the vineyard area across Australia now. So that's grown significantly.
That is, okay. So it's probably some of our members that we need to, Wine Grape Council members that we need to probably, we're trying to get a few more people there.
Well, what we're seeing is that we've had huge growth in the last 3 years. So we more than doubled our membership in the last couple of years. Even just in the last 2 months, we've had almost 200 new members join the program.
Wow.
So, I don't know exactly what the drivers are for that, but we certainly know there's some of those market drivers that we talked about. Yeah. But then there's a lot of people that just say, you know what, this is just the right thing for us to do.
Well, and some of us got project funding to help.
That too.
So for anyone, my last question on this that is thinking about it, they're done in region or they're done online? Did I hear that they're done online as well to the training?
So for those members who are pursuing certification, you do have to do a 1-day certification workshop with us, or there's other providers who can do it. But yes, we do offer it online or we do it face-to-face in the region.
Yeah, and preference is face-to-face?
I don't mind either way. They're pretty good. Face-to-face is great because you can
an assumption.
Really you can have better lunchtime conversations. But online, we keep them to quite small groups. So it does, by the time you've finished that workshop, you've got quite intimate relationships going with the people in the group.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
So as part of the GrowStrong program that we've put together, thanks for being part of it. You'll come on board with us. And we've done some sustainable wine growing things already, which has been great. Though they're now, one part is done, the training. We've got a few bits to go. So now we move on to the next bit, which is tell me how your program's going to look, I guess. Like it's a 2-day consecutive day program?
It is. It's a 2-day program. It's like a mini advanced viticulture course, essentially. So it's very region specific. So a lot of the topics that will be covered are really tailored for the region. So we're getting, I think it's about 20 growers in each region together. We will put them all on a bus and we'll drive around the region and we'll visit some really amazing sites to really learn about specific topics that are relevant to that region.
Yeah.
So some of the topics that I'm particularly looking forward to is learning about non-chemical weed control. We've got a carbon neutral section, and feedback from growers is that one of the key things that they're thinking about when they think about carbon neutrality is going solar. So we're going to provide them with information about how they can access government grants for solar or batteries. We'll provide them with some case studies of how growers have gone down that road before.
Yeah. In what context, Robyn? Solar is in for pumps and things, or for tractors, or what?
For pumps.
For pumps,
yeah.
So
a solar system for a solar farm for pumps.
Yeah.
But having a battery there as well. Some vineyards are quite isolated, so they can't feed back into the network. So having a battery might be really important for some growers. Other topics that we'll be talking about are pest and disease control. So we had quite a challenging year last year. So powdery mildew will be covered in most regions. Things like bunch inflorescence rot, that was a big one from last year. Virus in some regions, mealybug and scale, those sorts of things will be covered. Yeah, irrigation. There's so many amazing topics. Yeah.
So we're starting your program in the Riverland. What's the Riverland's vibe, do you think? What's their most interest for this program?
Yeah, great question. So a lot of the feedback in the Riverland is that there's some very short-term but also medium and long-term issues that are facing the Riverland at the moment. And with that, there's short, medium and long-term opportunities as well. So we're really going to try and cover each of those different types of challenges. So even though we have delivered a resting vineyard workshop to the Riverland, we've been asked to deliver some more information on that. So really talk through the cost benefit of different management scenarios. Another one for the Riverland will be around irrigation management. So they're looking for new technology for irrigation systems, and then also new technology for scheduling irrigation. Other things for the Riverland are around, I can't think of it.
Sprays? What about the spray? Yeah. I mean, I was a little bit surprised when we went there, like on an average year, the number of sprays. And I internally thought, I didn't realise that.
Yes, thank you. So another great thing about these sessions is that we have the regional Sustainable Wine Growing Australia data for those regions. So we'll be using regional data to really look at what potential opportunities there are for savings within that region. So specifically for the Riverland, we know that the number of spray applications per season can vary significantly, anywhere from 6 to 12, 13 sprays per season. And similar for irrigation, so water use during the season can vary significantly. So we'll be using that data to really show growers what the opportunity is to make some environmental savings and financial savings as well.
Yeah, sounds great. And the one of the beauties of the program, as we discussed a bit earlier today with the uni, was that you can have 2 people from the one ABN to attend. So do you see any issue at all, or is there a benefit that, to like dad and daughter coming to the same course? Is that a positive? Like, you don't need to have had previous study, do you? You don't need to have been on the vineyard for years?
No. I think the beauty of this program is that it really is applicable to people wherever they are in their career. And I really love that example of the father-daughter coming along and them both learning together and sharing ideas and coming up with a shared vision going forward for how the vineyard will be managed.
And a great really succession, we thought. Like it's a path into succession as well, because dad or mum who maybe are many generations old, they still have a lot of knowledge, don't they?
Oh, exactly.
A lot of knowledge, and we need to respect that knowledge. But the next generation coming up have the tech, and they have the ability to change quickly, and this just can be a really interesting combination.
I think that's another important part about this is the networking opportunity.
Definitely.
Oh,
yeah. So the networking opportunity, I guess, bringing those 20 people together into a region to share ideas, talk about their challenges, come up with solutions. They're going to have that network for their whole career. So they'll be able to come back, chat to each other in years to come and really
talk about the changes or things like and a lot of those towns probably know each other because it is a town anyway, but maybe they haven't had the real deep dive into some of these things, and actually I've been doing that for a little while, I'm going to try that, and how'd that go when you see them next to the footy or the schoolyard or
and I think there's opportunities for people within the same region to actually meet each other for the first time. I think about the Limestone Coast.
Yes.
It's a big zone.
Yes, that's true.
And it will be an opportunity to bring people together who may not have met each other before, to have those similar conversations about what their challenges are and the things that they're working on.
Yeah. And I'm guessing there's quite a bit of difference in those regions if you're thinking, Mount Gambier one end and what's the other end, Mardi? Pathaway, of course. So that's quite true. Hopefully, hopefully that will be exactly how it goes.
I think that's an important part of that program too, is that it's a 2-day program, but in between to have a dinner together and have those discussions, it's really bringing together the learnings from the day at the end of each day and having that discussion as a group.
So you've done this before through the degree that you offer, the advanced
viticulture course.
So how do you find that this works with people with time off farm? Is that a challenge for them, or do you think that once they're there, it's kind of forgotten for a little while and they get into it and enjoy it and have lots of good conversations?
Oh my goodness, the feedback that we get from the advanced viticulture course is always incredibly positive. They really enjoy the experience. They feel like it's really valuable use of their time. I think that networking is really valued. We make sure that after a huge day of learning, there's an opportunity to really debrief and talk about what they've learned, what the key messages were, how they perhaps relate to their own challenges on their vineyard, and then they get to just be social and enjoy each other's company for the dinner. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, we are too. And what do they need to bring for your part of the course, or what would be the recommendation we have to send out saying, this is what you'll need to do?
Okay. Well, they need to wear appropriate footwear, and because they're from the same region, the biosecurity issues are less than if they were coming from all over Australia, but we still encourage them to come with clean boots, clean clothing. Obviously, we know that phylloxera and weeds can hang around on clothing as well. So clothing that's appropriate for being outdoors. We're going to be in the vineyard for the majority of the day. So
that was going to be my question. My next question was, what's the day look like?
A hat, sun cream.
We can probably provide that.
Given the weather that we're having at the moment, maybe a rain jacket. We don't know.
We'll wait till we see.
Yeah, exactly.
So most of the day you just touched on is out in a variety of vineyards in the region, looking at different things, obviously.
Yes. So we will visit each day at least 3 different vineyards, and it's not going to be classroom style at all. It'll be in the vineyard, talking about what we're seeing out in the vineyard. We will have experts in the field there to deliver information about latest research or technology, but it's really going to be very practical and using a vineyard as a case study, essentially.
Excellent. And we're catering, obviously, so no one has to bring food because we can sort all that out. I guess we'll just stop somewhere. We'll work that out in due course. And at the end of the course, of the 2 days, is there, if there's a particular interest in something, people can contact the help desk, I'm guessing, and find out more details or touch base with you, or if they want to go on to further study, they can take up the other course?
The advanced viticulture course, definitely. So I guess one of the things from the advanced viticulture course is they've created a network amongst themselves, but also they know about what the AWRI does and each of the individual people within the AWRI as well. So they've put a face to a name, not only in the industry development and support team, but in the research team as well. So often after these courses, we get lots of questions about specific challenges. So asking for some more information about a specific challenge. So definitely encourage people, if they love their 2-day taster of the mini advanced viticulture course, and definitely you're welcome to join us for the full course.
The full course, which is how long?
It's 4 days.
Right.
And I guess the beauty of the full course is that you visit different regions, so regions that might be facing similar challenges to your region or completely different challenges. So I guess that's a bonus of that program. But having said that, I really like the idea of bringing people from a region together and seeing something within their region and creating that network within their region. So I think both programs have
value. I'm really personally, I'm hoping we do get the different age groups from the same family. That's what I'm really hoping that happens and becomes a path into succession planning, and just to see that, might even be mum, it might be siblings even, might not necessarily parent-daughter, but even siblings that might be both on the, I think that would make for some interesting conversations.
The other thing, growers always want to know what's going on, like over the fence, right?
Absolutely.
This is an opportunity. I'm not promising that we'll get to see everybody's vineyard. Yeah, of course, but we'll get to see places that maybe you've always wondered about what's going on over there.
Yeah, that'll be, it's really exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. Anything else you'd like to share about the AWRI, or anything that's on the go, or any new technology or anything that you want to flag? Can people visit the AWRI? That's a question I was going to ask. If I'm a grower and I'm just really kind of interested, can you make an appointment to pop into the AWRI?
You certainly can. We have growers from around Australia that have been contacting the help desk, and they find themselves in Adelaide, and they either want to do a bit more of a deep dive into a particular topic, or they just want to see the facility. And so we have lots of growers come in. It's important to make an appointment because we travel a lot for work.
And it is a science lab, isn't it? Like you need to be. I mean, I've been there. Mardi showed me around years ago, but I found it fascinating. It was not what I expected at all. So
the other place that people like to come is the library.
Yes,
it's an unknown place for many, many people, but we have a dedicated wine library at the AWRI, and people love to come in there. It's a public space. Anybody can come into the library, browse the books on the shelves, and come and sit down, read the stock journal or
so all different books. Like, is there like books, like journals, or
there's journals, but there's also a great collection of grape and wine books.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's always good to know. People are wanting something to go and do and look at, something different.
It's amazing the people you bump into in the library.
That's so true.
Yeah, and you've got a vineyard near as well, haven't you, that you manage? Is that right? Is that what's the vineyard?
No, Adelaide Uni.
That's Adelaide Uni that's next to it, right? Because you're right next to each other, aren't you?
Yeah, we're on the university campus.
Yeah. People probably, if you've never been to the AWRI, it's probably a bit like, hang on a minute, university campus is in the city.
I love it when people drop in and see us because I've been working at the AWRI for 12 years now, and there's people I've been talking to on the phone regularly over that period of time. And then one day to meet them in the flesh is amazing. I love it.
Yeah, it is good, isn't it?
So one thing that we didn't talk about, we talked about the specific topics for the Riverland, but we didn't talk about Limestone Coast or Langhorne Creek.
Please share.
Yeah, so we've been having some really good conversations with growers in Limestone Coast.
Yes.
And we've got some really great topics that we will be delivering as part of this mini advanced viticulture course. So one of the key ones is around pest and disease management, so vector control, so mealybug and scale for virus. They're virus vectors.
Yep.
Also irrigation. So irrigation is quite different down in Limestone Coast because of the unique soil type. So irrigation is a big topic down there, as well as frost.
Yes.
They're also interested in ESG is really one of the high priorities for that region, and part of that, the environmental part of that, is about recycling CCA posts instead of stockpiling them on the vineyard. The same with drip line. You know, are there any solutions out there that are viable for Limestone Coast growers? Obviously, the distance away from Adelaide is one of the main factors that affects the viability of recycling their materials. Another thing that they're really interested in is soil health and understanding soil carbon, how they can build soil carbon, how they can not lose soil carbon, and what soil carbon is important for, how to measure it, whether it's viable to sell it in the market,
and the problems around that,
because
you know, once you've sold it, what if you need it like yourself? It's a really hard subject. We deal with that through Prime Producers SA as well. It's non-stop. But soil health is, to me, always, everything comes back to that. It seems like, almost, doesn't it? Without good soil, good nutrient-rich soil that can hold water and all of those things, you really got a battle, haven't you? It's a really big one.
Yeah, I think when you're thinking about sustainability, making sure you have soil that can, as you say, hold as much water as it possibly can and provide nutrients to the vine without having to throw on heaps of fertilizer, helping the environment and also your back pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the bit, I think, Robyn, that we sometimes need to talk more to, is the back pocket, really, isn't it? Because it wasn't that long ago you were judged on how neat your vineyard was by having that one monoculture, that one living thing, and that's it. And how time has changed as things evolve and we learn more.
Goodness.
You know, words of Oprah: when you know better, you do better. You know, but it's true, isn't it?
Yeah,
and it saves you money because you're not having to spray every blade of green out because you don't need to, and then your soil health's better, and you don't need to add. Yeah, it's just. I'm almost obsessed with it now as well. I just love it. It's so good.
It's that whole triple bottom line. You have to be also evaluating the economic impact of what you're doing. If you're going to make a change to be more environmentally sustainable, it has to also have that return coming back economically. So you can't ignore that.
And I think the other thing that I think I've learnt more as well is that there aren't too many farmers or people on the land that actually don't want to look after the land. Like you rarely will, you know, they know they're caretakers of this vitally important resource, our land. Yeah, and that they want to do the right thing when they know better. So it's a great opportunity, I think, and I'm so glad you're on board. And, you know, if we can get a few of these young ones, particularly, that are coming up and want to learn more, I think they're the future. They're going to look after these vineyards and they're going to make a big difference into the next generations.
Definitely.
Aren't they? So we look forward to having you both there. We don't know if we see you much, Mardi, or not, but we'll look forward, and I'm sure we'll make it work.
Thank you.
It'll be good fun, I'm sure.
Yeah.